Hey y'all, this is Jet here from Clinical Research and Tea with Jet. If you haven't been paying attention to what's been going on with the Trump administration this year, RFK Jr. has been in the hot seat over his responsibilities as the Secretary of the HHS. In my previous video, we watched Senator Murray also questioning RFK Jr. for his misappropriation of government funds. So now let's watch this video of Senator Kennedy questioning Secretary Kennedy.
Mr. Secretary, how many employees were there at HHS when you took over?
Okay, sorry about that. I also wanted to explain to y'all, this is Senator John Kennedy, no relation to the Kennedys or RFK Jr. He is a Louisiana state attorney and began his career in government as a Republican Secretary of the Louisiana Department of Revenue in 1996. Then in 2000, he was elected the state treasurer. He now resides as the U.S. Senator of Louisiana. As a treasurer, he launched a program to return unclaimed property, including forgotten bank accounts and stocks. He also supported the Taxpayers' Bill of Rights, promoting respectful treatment of taxpayers. In 2009, he also was responsible for cutting state government employees to save the state and taxpayers money.
82,000.
How many do you have today?
62,000.
Okay.
Okay, if you missed that, that was a total of 20,000 people. That's a considerate amount of people losing their jobs.
It's about the level it was in 2019, right before COVID.
And if that is true, COVID proved that we needed that many people working in HHS, and that still remains true today, I believe.
Is this the first time that an institution in America has ever downsized?
I don't think so. I think private and public institutions have history.
Microsoft just announced that they were going to reduce their workforce by 6,000 people.
Just a reminder, Senator Kennedy is a U.S. attorney, and he's obviously using that approach during his questioning of Secretary Kennedy.
You think that'll be the end of Microsoft?
Senator, we wouldn't have reduced anybody.
You think that'll be the end of Microsoft?
I don't think so, Senator.
Meta, I still call them Facebook, just announced they're going to reduce their workforce by 3,000 people. You think that'll be the end of Meta?
I imagine it will not.
Yeah. Think maybe the people at Meta know what they're doing?
I think that they do. They make a lot of money, Senator.
Do you hate NIH?
I love NIH. I grew up with NIH. I visited when I was a boy. I loved science, and those were my favorite afternoons, visiting the labs.
Do you hate medical?
So the NIH is the National Institute of Health. They are known as the largest source of funding for medical research in the world. When the Trump administration started this year, they tried dismantling the NIH and the CDC in the U.S.
Medical research?
No, I think we need to lead the world in medical research in this country.
In fact, isn't it true, Mr. Secretary, that you would like to see more money spent on medical research?
Obviously, I'm the secretary of this department. No secretary wants to see his budget cut.
Well, one way...
RFK is the one responsible for cutting funds to medical research across the U.S., resulting in clinical trials being put on hold and thousands of people being put out of jobs. Also, you would think it would be obvious that he doesn't want this, but because he's the secretary of his department in the HHS, you would think it was obvious. But he is doing things behind the Congress's back as we have seen in the previous video with Senator Murray, who she was claiming he was doing some illegal things with the appropriations of money.
If doing that, it seems to me, would be to stop some of the stealing. And let me tell you what I mean by that. Let's suppose you give NIH gives a university $100 million to research, for medical research, to research a cure. And that university takes 30 million of it, doesn't spend it on the research, they use it to subsidize the rest of their university. Does that show a commitment to medical research?
No, and I mentioned before the example of Stanford, which was taking 78% in indirect costs, and we don't know what they were spending.
That's theft, isn't it?
It's not a good
in
way to
Louisiana, we
spend
call that
federal
stealing.
taxpayer dollars.
We call that stealing. Is there any doubt in your mind that a lot of universities are taking this NIH money, which is supposed to be spent on medical research, and using it to fund other parts of their university? Is there any doubt in your mind, Bobby?
Oh, and Senator, the other people who are writing grants, like the Gates Foundation, the Rockefeller Foundation, they paid 10% to 15% in indirect costs. We were paying 50, 60, 70%.
So in fact, what you're doing is adding money to medical research.
We will be able to fund many, many, many more studies by eliminating that $9 billion, at least part of that $9 billion cost.
I mean, we will see. Because what Senator Murray was complaining about is that he had these proposals, these papers stating where he was allocating funds, and there is money set up for each fund, for each program, that they're not seeing. So if their money is there and they're getting sent to the programs, all they need from him is to hold him accountable to see where this money is going. That's all. But I think what Senator Kennedy was getting at is that RFK Jr., he refuses to implicate himself by stating that it isn't a good way to spend taxpayers' money, and instead of admitting that it would constitute theft, right? He doesn't want to admit that he's doing anything illegal, and instead he's just making excuses for what has happened with funding, the allocation fundings. We just need to know. Okay, all we know is that we've gotten all of these cuts to all these programs, and supposedly there's money there for more funding for programs. So where is it at? That's all they're trying to do, is hold them accountable. So what are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below. And please support this channel by liking and subscribing. I will be taking a closer look at what will be happening as we continue to watch Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and what he's doing in the White House. Until next time, have a cup of tea for me, and thank you for watching.